Hey guys, my name is Brandon and welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you like what you see in here, you're more than welcome to hit the subscribe button so you stay notified every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get straight on with today's video. Hey everyone and welcome back to Is That More Brandon. So in today's video I'm actually going to be doing a review for the third episode of Squid Game, The Challenge. Now it's definitely getting quite interesting, should I say. A lot of characters that we've seen throughout the episodes are now starting to be eliminated. So obviously at the end of episode 3 there are only 73 people left. So I'm just going to explain to you how we ended up going from episodes 1 to episode 3, 456 people to literally 73. That's incredible, but I think we're going to start to get to know the final 73 people a little bit better. And then obviously anyone that goes out will be like, oh my god, I remember that person, or oh my god, I really like that person, or whatever. So yeah, 73 people left, but at the beginning of the episode, we had, I don't know how many we had left, but who knows. But yeah, right at the beginning of the episode, obviously we found out, remember, player 198, who already answered the phone the first time, got his free food, but basically didn't actually eat any of it, picked up the phone again for the second time, and the lady on the phone, or the voice on the phone, basically said to him he had to convince another player to actually answer the phone for them to potentially be at risk, and if he wasn't able to persuade someone to answer the phone, he would actually have basically eliminated himself from the game. So his aim was basically get somebody on the phone, anyone, and he would stay. If he wasn't able to, then he was out. So basically he kind of went around, started talking to people he didn't really know, kind of saying, oh, do you guys want chocolate muffins? Like, you know, if you answer the phone, you get some chocolate muffins. There was a few people that were a little bit like, not really sure I believe that, because he was on the phone for quite a long time. And then one of the players, player 2, so his name was actually Favour, he kind of was like, okay, well, as long as it's not an elimination, I'll take the phone. And then he kind of went, actually, no, I'm not really sure. So he basically didn't want to forfeit himself. And then I think one of the players, player 188, so Sam, almost went to the phone. And then Brighton, player 432, basically shouted out, are you going to trust him? You're going to trust him. He's been literally hanging around that phone. Player 176, again, he also said to player 198, are you sure it's not like elimination? So there's basically a few people there that were potentially going to answer the phone. Basically, 2 minutes went, nobody actually answered the phone. Player 198 eliminated himself from the game. And I think actually player 198 is actually a YouTuber or a content creator. That's what somebody advised me. So yeah, his name, if you are watching this, hiya, welcome to my channel. It's lovely to meet you, collaborate with me, you know. You seem like a nice guy, so that's what I'm saying anyway. So yeah, 118 players were left at this point. And player 432 basically said to some of his friends that he kind of was going for people that he didn't know. So usually if something good is at the end of the phone, you're going to go to your friends, you're not going to go to someone random. So the fact that he was going for the randoms was to kind of just get someone at the end of the phone, keep him safe, and it doesn't really matter who goes out, but then he would have had a target on his back. Player 97 said it's cutthroat now, and obviously player 198 would have been everyone's target. Now he's gone, everyone's obviously a target. Player 243 and 232, so Stephen, the mullet guy, and Rick, the older guy in the competition, have still got their kind of alliance together. And player 232 said it would be nice for him to actually help somebody get that win. So he doesn't really necessarily care about winning or not, because I guess he's had like a good life or whatever. But if he could help someone like player 243 or someone to get kind of a bit further in the game, then he's absolutely going to do that for them. Player 301, so Trey, the mother and son combo, obviously this is just the son. He was talking to Figgy, so she's player 33, who obviously was stressed in the cookie challenge a couple of episodes ago, or in the last episode. They kind of ended up getting some sort of alliance together. Figgy said that she wants to be a safe space for people in the game, so she can go to them if she needs help, and they can obviously go to her if they need help. So in the morning, obviously after they'd all gone to bed, player 218 said he was ready for the morning, ready to have some oats. Player 432 said that being strong is one of his greatest attributes. And then all of the players that were left, the 118 or 119 that were 118 that were left, went into a games room, and there was 8 numbers. So 8 numbers on boards, which meant there was going to be 8 teams for this game. And I think they all thought it was going to be tug of war. So they're kind of putting themselves in teams with like the stronger guys and, you know, their mates and whatever, kind of whatever. And yeah, basically Figgy, she was on a team, and she basically said to player 186, he needs to change team, get off, go to a different team. Not that they didn't want him because he wasn't good, but there was just too many people in her team. I think she said she had an extra 2 or 3 extras. So it's kind of making the teams more fair. And whoever was last to join the team was kind of the first to go. Player 182, kind of TJ, I think he's like I think he was like a basketball player or a policeman or whatever. It was some sort of thing. He basically was trying to console player to 453 because she was kind of sitting there kind of crying. And he basically said, look, I know we're in different teams, but we are here together now. So just try and sort yourself out kind of thing. Anyway, so we basically found out that the game was actually not tug of war, it was actually warships or battleships. So very interesting game. I absolutely love the game. Obviously I'm not very good if you kind of don't know where the battleships are, but I guess that's the point of the game. And we found out there was team 3 against team 1 first. I don't know all of the people in all of the teams, and I don't think they even announced the team names, team numbers for the rest of the games. It was kind of just, you just saw 2 teams. You kind of got shown a few faces that you were like, oh, I recognise that face, or I know that person, and then a few new characters that kind of joined in as well. But basically, for team 3, you had Brad, so he was player 337, his lieutenant, or he's like kind of second in command. Player 178, don't really know who that was. Jessie 220 basically said this is her game. She was a new character. And then her lieutenant 352, another female contestant. Again, haven't really seen anything of her at all, apart from until this point. Player 432 said that player 220 basically had no strategy. Remember, Brighton is player 432, the bigger built guy. And yeah, he basically said, I would have loved to have been the captain because, you know, I'll actually have some sort of strategy. This is my kind of game. It was one ship all at this point, so red team got 1, blue team got 1, and they basically had to sink 2 of the other team's ships in order for that winning team to go through. Basically, each of the teams had sunk 1 of the other team's ships at this point. So blue team got 1 point, red team got 1 point, and basically the entire ship that they had sunk, all of the people that were in that ship obviously got eliminated from the game. And at the end, whichever team didn't win, their captain and lieutenant also got eliminated. So I think in this one, red team were basically deciding, I think it was for their final hit, whether they wanted to go for B4 or D4. I think if they went for B4, they wouldn't have hit the boat, and if they went for D4, if they went for B4, the ship would have gone down, and if they went for D4, then the other team would have been safe. Basically, in the end, Jessie's team, so like I said, Jessie was, I think, blue team. Her team lost because the 2-person boat, which was actually player 432, so Brighton, and player 270, Adrian with the long hair, both of them were in the same boat, which I don't think was a good idea because you're technically losing 2 strong players. They both got eliminated. Obviously, both the team captains got eliminated, and then the people in the other blue boat also got eliminated. So that meant the red team went through, apart from the 1 boat in red team that obviously they lost their team. But yeah, the red team did win that one. The second battle, you had TJ. So he was player 182. Again, haven't really seen much of him so far. He took the captain role with 54 as his lieutenant. He basically has said that in his life he's fought for a lot of people, he's been in lots of fights or whatever, and he's kind of always put himself into situations because he knows he's a tall, strong, muscly guy, that he can obviously hold himself and also help other people when needed. And he said bravery is just part of who he is. They managed to hit the 5-person the 5-person boat, or I think their 5-person boat got hit. I'm actually not too sure. And player 161 said, let's sink their ship. So player 161 was like the Italian guy who kind of was just, yeah, player 182, TJ, was kind of a little bit too much like, I've got you guys, team, I've got you, and player 161 was just like, in his head, I just want you guys, like, I just want you to just get on with it, like, can we actually win, rather than giving us all this stuff. I put here player 386 eliminated. I don't know who player 386 was. I think he might have just been a really good looking guy. But yeah, no, actually no, player 386 was the captain, and player 264 was the lieutenant of the red team. So obviously TJ's team won their game. And then player 301, which is obviously Trey, the son of the mother and son combo, said to TJ 182, I trust you to be a leader. So as soon as they got back into the winning room, I guess it's not really an alliance, but he's basically said to TJ, look, I really trust you. Probably thinking, right, I've got my mum in here, so me and her are an automatic alliance. Let's get TJ on side, be positive, be, you know, happy and whatever towards him. He might go, oh, you know, I'll remember this Trey guy later on. So that was that. The third game, you had a girl called B. So she's player 18, she's a gamer, so she basically does games and game designing for her job. So she was the #1 person to put forward for this. And she had player 19, who was one of the blonde girls, who's actually talking to Leanne, which is the mum-son combo. So again, kind of getting her into the game. I don't really know who she is, but she's always there with the right people. So she was the lieutenant there. And B, player 18, said that she takes pride in her intelligence. And you know, she's kind of been put forward for like the Mensa things when she was younger, and her parents forced her to do certain things because they knew she was intelligent, and she even admitted she doesn't actually and wasn't actually able to use her intelligence for anything. So kind of, you know, putting herself forward for this is kind of one way to show that. And she also said with battleships, the most important thing is avoid the centre of the grid if you're going to put your battleships anywhere, because most people, when they get nervous or excited, will aim for the middle, especially C3, as like the panic spaces. And blue team actually won that, so B's team actually won that. I think they got 2 ships straight away. And she basically just said, look, a lot of people obviously in this game don't really know who I am, but hopefully I'll now be on a lot of people's radars, kind of just being recognised and having my face out there a little bit more. She is quite eccentric, she does look quite unique anyway, but just the fact that, you know, she's more than just, you know, good looks, she's actually got some brain cells as well. Hopefully that will get people, you know, trusting her a little bit more, or, you know, she'll have their back as long as they have hers. And then, yeah, I think the final game here was including obviously Figgy. So she's player 33. I don't know why, but I think I called her Jess in the previous episode. It's not Jess. There's nobody in the game called Jess. And Figgy basically said she has no idea about battleships, so she didn't want to put herself forward. And Dan, player 204, I think it's one of the Gambo boys or something like that. He said he's quite confident being the captain, so obviously he was. So for the red team, it was 258 as the captain, 273 as the lieutenant, and for the blue team, Dan 204 was the captain and 375 was the lieutenant. So I don't know who the rest of them are, but I know obviously 204 is Dan. Player 218, I just put good looking guy eliminated, so I don't know who that was, but he's really fit, but he's obviously not in the game anymore. And then player 258, who obviously was the female captain for the red team, she kind of realised that her 5-person boat got hit, and that boat included Figgy, so she was kind of like, oh my god, that's Figgy's boat, like, if that boat goes down, I've lost Figgy, potentially whoever is my alliance, or whatever. And she basically said, I'm sorry. Figgy, player 33, said it's obviously out of her control. You know, being in this game, she was just kind of a person in a boat, and it was up to just the other team to, you know, fire their bullets, shall we say. So, yeah. She kind of got eliminated with the other 4 people in her boat. Again, don't know who the rest of them were, but she was the main character in that one. And then player 204 said to his team, do I go for F5 or F8? Almost like a game of chess. You make one wrong move, you could lose the whole game. He said he wanted to go for F5 because he's got 5 kids. Player 232, Rick, the older guy of the game, said go for F8, I've got 8 grandkids, like, you know, that's the space that I'm feeling. They went for F8, they got that final boat, and their team won. So if they didn't listen to Rick, they would have missed the boat. So Rick basically said here, this was the best, you know, the best thing I've ever done in the game so far. Obviously he celebrated his birthday in the game, and also he was able to make sure that his team won, or that, you know, other people weren't eliminated from his team. And then, yeah, on the red team, player 107 was eliminated. I think, again, that was just another good looking guy. And player 204, Dan, said to Rick 232, you are my hero. So, yeah, although he didn't really do much, he kind of was just the final decision as to whether the boat was going to go down or whether it wasn't. And then obviously Trey, so number 301, so the mother-son combo, this is the son, said that he hoped Figgy would come back. Unfortunately, she didn't come back, so he kind of realised that she was eliminated. And I think they all kind of got the idea. Player 432 was also gone by this point, but no one mentioned it. I just think it was quite obvious. And they were more worried about their friends at this point. The people they don't like are out, who cares? But the people they do like are not there. That was what's most important. And then again, player 319, again, she wasn't really a character that, like, a main character or anything, but I remember she was the very, very last person to get through on the cookie game. She literally, within 1 second, could have been eliminated. She got her cookie out within the last millisecond, and I just remember, I just saw her on the bunk bed, and I was like, oh, 319, I recognised you from a previous episode. And this is where we found out there were 73 players left, and they had 3,830,000 in the pot, purely based on all the people that got eliminated. And it was quite nice because they actually did like a board on the screen, so they showed you all of the people, the 118 that were left, and they kind of just poked all the ones out that were eliminated. It was kind of like a honeycomb puzzle. It kind of looked like a honeycomb puzzle, all the different stars with the different people, and then boom, 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 it just shows you how few people were left in the game, from 456 to 73. And we found out at the end of episode 3 that there were going to be 2 elimination tests before the next game, and these were going to happen in front of the entire dormitory. The first test was all of them had to vote for somebody that they wanted to just eliminate from the game, and the 3 people with the most amount of votes would be eliminated from the game. So I think by this point, the fact that player 432 was eliminated, the fact that, 107 was eliminated, the fact that potentially Figgy was eliminated, the fact that these people who not necessarily had targets on their back but were obviously quite popular, it makes it even more difficult now for the rest of them to eliminate someone, because they've already done the hard work by eliminating themselves. So yeah, that's kind of how we left episode 3, of like, you got to vote for someone you want to go out, and the 3 people that the majority want out will actually go out. So that's kind of where we left that. Again, I don't really know who's a target at this point. I guess the kind of people that are targets are maybe those who are starting to come out of their shell a little bit more. So you got B, you got TJ, you got the mother and son combo. I think Jada is still in the game, so she's still in the game as well, player 97, I remember her number. You got, I think 254 is still in the game. You obviously got Rick, 232, he's still in the game. So they're probably potentials of people that are going to get eliminated, but at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we obviously do know what's going to happen because the whole series is out, but yeah, it's a very mind game. Like, it's a mind F-U-C-K is kind of what I was going to say, but I couldn't say that word. Don't want to say that word on camera. So yeah, that's basically it for episode 3. So 73 people left. So yeah, we'll see what happens in episode 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have no idea who's going to win. Like, obviously the closer we get to the end, I will kind of make some guesses and assumptions of like who potentially will actually get through to the finals and things, but as of now there's still 73 people. I can just about tell you half their names, if I even know half, but yeah, we'll see what happens in episode 4, but until then, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this review, and until my next video, thank you very much, and I'll see you then. So until then, thank you and goodbye.